Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're looking at something pretty significant. China and its push for independence in AI and advanced chips.
Yeah, it's a huge shift, and it's really being driven by this intense tech competition, especially between China and the U.S.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack China's strategy here. How are they trying to achieve this self-reliance?
And how are things like the U.S. sanctions actually playing out? What does it all mean globally?
Exactly. By the end, you should have a much clearer take on this whole very complex picture.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so this push for self-reliance, it's not entirely new, is it?
No, not at all. China's wanted to reduce dependence on foreign tech for a long time. It's been a strategic goal.
But something changed recently.
Definitely. Those U.S. export restrictions back in 2022, the ones targeting really advanced semiconductors and the equipment to make them,
Yeah, the cutting edge stuff.
right, that really put the pressure on. It basically turbocharged China's drive to build up its own domestic chip manufacturing and AI development.
So more government backing, more investment flowing in.
Significant amounts. A very concerted effort.
And the original idea behind those U.S. sanctions was pretty straightforward, wasn't it?
Uh-huh. The intent was clear.
Yeah.
Slow down China's progress, particularly in these high-tech fields like advanced AI and supercomputing.
Limit their access to the best tools.
Precisely. But, well, the outcome hasn't been quite that simple.
Ah, okay. So what has been the impact then? Did it work?
It's interesting. Instead of just stopping things, the sanctions seem to have forced a kind of strategic shift, an adaptation.
How so?
Chinese companies are, finding workarounds. One big one is leveraging cloud computing much more heavily.
So even if they can't easily get the absolute latest physical hardware?
Exactly. They can still access significant computing power remotely through the cloud to train and run their AI models. It's a way to compensate.
That makes sense. So it's not just about the physical chip manufacturing then?
Not at all. That's a crucial point. Their focus is broader. It includes the software, the algorithms, the brains behind the AI itself.
Right, the actual code and methods.
Yeah. And there are some fascinating examples emerging. Take the Chinese startup DeepSeek.
Okay, what about them?
Reports suggest they've developed an AI model that performs, well, roughly on par with something like OpenAI's ChatGPT.
Wow. Okay, but the interesting part...
They apparently did it using significantly less data and, crucially, less raw computing power.
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. It strongly suggests they're making breakthroughs in algorithmic efficiency, finding smarter ways to train AI, using data more effectively.
So the goal isn't just chip parity. It's about autonomy in the fundamental AI tech itself.
Precisely. Owning the core technology, not just the hardware it runs on.
Okay, stepping back then. What does this all mean on a global scale? This feels bigger than just the U.S. and China.
Well, it absolutely is. This isn't a bilateral issue anymore.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally reshaping global tech supply chains. Well, companies and countries everywhere are having to rethink their strategies. These sanctions are, perhaps unintentionally, driving China to build out its own tech ecosystem.
Like a parallel system. Hardware, software, standards, the whole package.
Sort of, yeah. An alternative pathway.
Yeah.
And that could really shift the global balance of tech power down the line. We might see different standards emerging, different dominant players in different regions.
So wrapping this up, China's push for AI and chip independence is absolutely real, and it's accelerating this global tech race.
Definitely. And the U.S. sanctions, while creating real hurdles for China right now.
Might actually be pushing them to innovate faster in some areas in the long run.
It's a distinct possibility. Forces creative solutions like we saw with DeepSeek potentially.
Okay, so here's something to think about for everyone listening. As these potentially separate, maybe even competing global tech ecosystems develop.
How might that eventually change the technology you use every day? Or even the pace and direction of future innovation itself?
Lots to consider there. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.